This is CBC Windsor News. I'm Chris Hensing. Katarina is away. These are our top stories. Rumble strips were part of a push to calm traffic on Windsor streets, but the city now says they aren't making much of an impact. And it's Diwali time. Find out how people plan to mark the Festival of Lights. And Halloween rolls through Willisted. We take a look at a unique way people mark this occasion. But we begin in Wheatley, where there's some closure for the small rural community. A state of emergency put in place after a massive explosion in 2021 came to an end today. Jacob Barker with more.
More than 3 years after a devastating explosion, the municipality of Chatham-Kent has declared a state of emergency here in Wheatley over. Residents and businesses are already working on a plan to envision a future for this part of the community.
The next step future-wise is seeing what the community wants and how we develop that properly and how it can, survive for generations to come.
Earlier this month, a gas well was sealed off here, stopping the venting of a dangerous gas, hydrogen sulfide. A task force is in place. It has nearly $500,000 in provincial funding to make a plan.
We believe that having some sort of municipally owned, publicly programmed space makes a lot of sense. Certainly, private developers, private business owners that own the properties around are going to be encouraged to rebuild, grow, expand, and then we're attracting new businesses as well.
It has already been getting input from the public, putting together a vision for the future.
It could be a playground or accessible seating. It could be a treed area like a forest where people can sit. There could be a pavilion for farmers markets. It really, the world is sort of our oyster.
There's no firm timeline for when that transformation might take place. Right now, there's still a wait before anything can actually happen on site.
We're still going to wait for 6 months and monitor the situation to make sure that it is stable before we absolutely finish things off.
The lessons learned here don't just affect this community. There are more than 20,000 abandoned gas wells in the province, according to the chief. Work that is now being done together with the province, other fire officials and municipalities to better protect from something like this happening again, wherever it may be.
Our engineers and geologists and the University of Windsor are looking at ways that they can perhaps predict this better and protect communities in the future.
There is one more immediate plan for the site here. Later this year, Councillor Anderson says that fencing around the site will be coming down and Christmas decorations will go up on it. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Wheatley.
More than 600 kilograms of suspected cocaine was discovered inside of a shipment of grapes. This seizure took place at the Ambassador Bridge a couple weeks ago. To get a sense of the size, that's about the weight of a concert grand piano. Now, CBSA hasn't provided an estimate of the street value of the 615 kilogram illegal shipment, but earlier this year, the value of a cocaine seizure less than half that size was put at $6.5 million by the CBSA. If you don't enjoy driving over rumble strips, this may come as a relief. It's not looking likely that the city will be installing any more of those on the urban roadways. Dalton Chen explains why.
How effective are rumble strips as a traffic calming measure? Not very, according to a report on a pilot project that put them in this Windsor residential neighborhood. The city's traffic department has found that there's been minimal benefit to adding such strips to this section of Grand Maris Road East near Pilet Road. Transverse rumble strips are designed to raise the attention of drivers by generating noise when vehicles go over them. The strips at this intersection are what's left of an initiative that began in the summer of 2023. Council asked for the project after 2 incidents where vehicles on Grand Maris Road East ignored the stop sign at Pilet Road and collided with a house. But both those incidents involved impaired drivers. Radar data shows that more than a year of the strips being in place hasn't made a huge difference on general traffic. Before the strips, the average vehicle speed approaching the intersection was 38.7 kilometers per hour. After installation of the strips, the average vehicle speed was 36.1 kilometers per hour, a difference of only 2.6 kilometers per hour.
Really, they're not as effective under 70 kilometers an hour. They start to lose the whole engineering principle behind them, because the car speed is already slow enough that it doesn't produce as the desired effect. On their own, we found that they weren't very successful because of the low speeds on the roadway. And the conclusion is going to be that rumble strips on their own are they're not very effective.
The truth is, administration already knew rumble strips aren't used in this situation. Most provinces and jurisdictions don't recommend installing strips in urban environments. British Columbia doesn't allow them within 200 meters of any residence, and the Ontario Traffic Manual discourages putting them in residential areas. One US-based traffic engineering expert is puzzled why the city embarked on this project.
Rumble strips are primarily used to keep people in lanes. I've never seen it work very successfully in terms of controlling speed. I don't see them changing like when I go into the village with a rumble strip, nobody slows down. Nobody changes this. Whatever they're doing before, they're continuing.
To the city's credit, this was not an expensive experiment. The total cost of the pilot project was only about $3,300. These rumble strips will be removed for the winter at the start of November. The report on them recently went before the city's Standing Committee on the Environment, Transportation and Public Safety. Next, it'll go before Windsor City Council. But there's a bigger report coming detailing updates to the entire city's traffic calming policy and procedures. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
Colette Kennedy joins us now for a look at the shortened forecast. We'll have you back for the full forecast in a sec, but this idea of Halloween, we got to get you up early.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's a lot hanging on this, right? Yeah, and I do want parents taking the kids out and that kind of thing, or if you're sending them out the door, I want you to know there's still this special weather statement because of the strong winds. At one point, we had those winds gusting. I think I saw 78 to almost 80 kilometers an hour. Currently, we're still seeing some gusts for Windsor over 60. The temperature's 22 degrees. It is mild. That's still in play. But also know, besides the winds, we have a few little spotty showers here and there. So take an umbrella, maybe hang on to it.
Hang on tight, not bad, Colette. See you again soon.
Sounds good.
Now that wind is going to affect more than just Halloween. It's Diwali, the festival of lights. For many South Asians, that means fireworks. But in Windsor, fireworks, they're not allowed for Diwali without a permit. One Windsorite says that should change.
Actually, we go door to door with the little neighborhood and tell them that there's going to be fireworks like around 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. So that they know that there are fireworks and there will be sound and there will be a little bit of noise. But everyone is, cooperating. So even they come to our store, stand like a little bit, you can say, far away, and they enjoy the fireworks and they love it. Like we have been doing it for last 2 years, and for us there haven't been a single complaint. In our community, we wait for this day our whole year, and then we celebrate. And some families save up money for this day, and then they buy a little bit gold, a little bit silver as a good luck, and then they celebrate this day. So this day is very big in our community. So I think Windsor should at least give an exemption for this one day when the community, the people, they can all merge together and have a good time. Like Chatham and Sarnia, they have given the exemption. Yeah, I can understand that there are some people who would take advantage of that. But again, the thing is, city can do a lot of things so that all the community and all the people can come together, celebrate, and even feel safe,
And what would you say to somebody who might be complaining about fireworks at 9 o'clock at night on a weeknight?
Actually, there was one guy, but the authorities are so good. They once came, they told us that just be aware that by law you can't go beyond 11 p.m. And we were like, yeah, we know that. And they were even inside, they know that this is just one day and people are going to celebrate, and there are a lot of people. It's not like you can say someone trying to bug someone with that. It's just a celebration. But I would just request them to come with us, enjoy with us, and we'll tell them like what a big day it is. So I think we can come more close together and we have a good time.
It does feel like a celebration day today with everything on the go. Back to Halloween now. If you don't have trick-or-treaters at the door, they're coming soon. A few Windsorites, though, they like to roll with things a little early. Dale Molnar caught up with them at Willestead Park. Take a look.
Oh. Oh. I can't keep up with you. Okay,
it's Crystal DeRoche. I'm one of the co-founders. Yeah, me and my friend Lula, we started a group during COVID. We call it We Roller Skaters, and it's for Windsor, Essex, like to gather any of the roller skaters and rollerbladers to get together for different meetups and stuff like that, just to get people out of the house and having fun together. We originally started this to get awareness, to get a roller rink back in the community. I just moved back a couple months ago, and we're going to be back at that again as well. But in the meantime, I just figured it was good to get some outdoor meetups going, at least for now. Tonight we decided to just meet up at the Willisted Manor here and just go on the trail and have everyone get their costumes on and just come out for a good time together.
Yeah, I saw the message on Facebook and out I came.
It's a great way to get people together.
Yeah, it really is.
My friends and I roller skate often, and whenever they post an event, I do whatever I can to make it out. So this one seems super fun.
Kind of reminiscent on the past.
What's that?
Well, we used to skate a lot in the 1900s.
I think that sounded like a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
What do you think of this?
I think it's nostalgic.
Yeah, I see some people with blades on and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna get it going.
One strike away from a World Series championship. 1-2. Verdugo strikes out swinging.
Magical moment for the Los Angeles Dodgers there, beating the New York Yankees to win the World Series. We love pointing out a Canadian connection here. Watch this. That's MVP Freddie Freeman. He grew up in California, but his parents are Canadian, and his father's from Windsor. His mom is from Oshawa. Now, since his dominating performance, an old interview has been making the rounds where he talks about what keeps him connected to this country.
Most people don't know that, but my mom passed away when I was 10 years old of melanoma skin cancer, and that's why I play for Team Canada. I don't know if this is what she would want me to do, but in my heart, it's what I feel I should do. That's the reason I play. It's to honor my mom, and if most Dodger fans don't know, there's a lot of things that go into each game that I do for remembering my mom. I wear sleeves every game. That is for my mom, because she passed away of skin cancer, so it's just every time I put on my tight sleeves, it makes me think of her.
It's a beautiful moment to think about there. As we take a look outside, like Colette said, that rain looks to be holding off. Wind is something to worry about, but we have another focus right now. We want every picture of any animal you have dressed up in a Halloween costume. Send us an email, windsor@cbc.ca. We'll put them all together, show them tomorrow night. We are excited to see what you got. Welcome back. We'll soon bring you an update from Spain as it recovers from devastating flash floods that have claimed more than 150 lives so far. But first, we begin in London, where more alleged victims have come forward against the late billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed.
I'm Chris Brown outside Harrods in London, where hundreds of women have now come forward alleging sexual abuse by the store's famous former owner. The scale of sexual abuse Harrods owner Mohammed Al Fayed is accused of inflicting on his female staff over the decades is staggering. These women are among 400 alleged survivors who've come forward. Jen was just 16 when she says the owner of the iconic London department store molested her. Lindsay was 20.
35 years of, being silenced and not being verified, and also having to dig deep to keep it hidden.
I was deeply ashamed of what happened to me, and I still feel that shame today. And I think being able to speak publicly is part of that healing process.
Fayed, who became globally famous after his son Dodi was killed in the same car crash as Princess Diana, died last year at the age of 94.
He would take my head and he would push it into his genitals.
In a BBC documentary broadcast last month, many of the girls and women who worked for his companies over 3 decades alleged Fayed's staff knew what he was doing and helped him avoid prosecution.
Industrial scale abuse that could have only been perpetrated with a system that enabled the abuse to happen.
In London, lawyers for survivors said the first of what's expected to be a mountain of legal claims has now been filed against Harrods.
Ronnie Gibbons, who's coming.
Among the recent revelations is that Ronnie Gibbons, the captain of the Fulham women's soccer team, also owned by Al Fayed, was brought by car to his department store when she was 20 years old and sexually assaulted.
By speaking out, we are making it harder for this kind of behaviour to be tolerated anywhere.
Harrods has started its own compensation process for victims, but lawyers say many women don't feel comfortable dealing directly with the store, as senior staffers from the Al Fayed era still work there. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
I'm Megan Williams in Rome, where I'm following Europe's latest devastating floods, those in southern and eastern Spain, where authorities have sent out 1,000 rescuers to try and find survivors. They have also sent out 50 mobile morgues to try and locate the bodies of people who are still reported as missing. Now, most of the downpour affected the eastern region of Valencia, where as much as 1 year's worth of rain fell in just 8 hours. This is just an incredibly powerful downpour that has led to rivers overflowing, buildings and bridges being wiped out, along with roads and railway tracks. This heavy rainfall is caused by something known as a gota fria, a cold drop. As we know, the Mediterranean Sea is heating up due to climate change and lack of action on curbing CO2 emissions. This summer, the Mediterranean Sea rose by as much as 5 degrees Celsius in some places. So when a cold front of air comes over that warm water, it creates dense clouds, which when they erupt just let out a massive amount of water, and this is what we're seeing in Spain. Now, the Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez, has told people to stay put because he says it's not over yet. There's more rain expected today as Spain begins its first day of 3 days of national mourning for those who died in this terrible Spanish flooding. Megan Williams, CBC News, Rome.
With just 5 days left before the election in the United States, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are passing each other on the campaign trail today, both making stops in battleground states of Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico. But even before heading out to her official events, Democrat Harris held an unscheduled appearance in front of cameras, specifically responding to this comment made last night by her Republican rival.
I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said we think it's very inappropriate for you to say, so why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. Well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
Listen, it actually is, I think, very offensive to women in terms of not understanding their agency, their authority, their right, and their ability to make decisions about their own lives, including their own bodies.
Meanwhile, Trump supporter Elon Musk failed to show up in court in Pennsylvania as ordered. This was the first hearing in a bid to shut down Musk's $1 million a day giveaway in the vital swing state. His absence would have risked contempt of court had his case not been moved today to federal court. Now, Halloween brought together a group of people in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia this morning for a smashing good time. The star of the Great Pumpkin Drop, a massive gourd tipping the scales at more than 600 kilograms. Let's show it in slow-mo. They raised this dumpster 60 meters in the air, crashed to the ground. That satisfying splat. Just a spectacle for people to watch. Not the only reason they were there, though. It's a trick-and-treat event. That big pumpkin was filled with ping pong balls for a local radio contest. The person whose ball got closest to a target on the ground walked away with $10,000 in gold bars. Not exactly what I'm handing out at the door, but still encouraging people to trick or treat, see and get that bag of chips. And send us your photos. If you got pets dressing up, we want to see what they look like. I've got a dog dressed up like a hot dog right now. Send more of them. Windsor@cbc.ca. We'll have your weather coming up next. All right, Colette, welcome back for a live look at our weather here. When we talk about last-minute costumes here, I think that, I thought Kat was being here today, so I went around the office and I found as close as I could. You are rocking something a little bit better there. You have
Well, if those at home, are familiar at all with the In-N-Out burger, I know it's stateside, but yes, I feel like we could have coordinated something a little better. Like, this has nothing to do with what Santa.
We did it. A couple texts back and forth, but maybe Santa's going to bring us an In-N-Out location. I know that Michigan is always looking for something like that.
There you go. I'll put it on my list, but I think I might be on the naughty list, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with that.
I love it, but always on my good list. What do we got going on tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, I could use a flipper here any given day, really, because I can point out my temperatures. But what we have going on are some very mild temperatures, of course. So we're sitting at 22 degrees, very close to a record again today, but not quite there. 20 for Chatham-Kent, 21 for Sarnia. Okay, I'm going to just put this aside and give you your weather, because we do have some serious stuff to talk about. And I know it's Halloween. It's really important what's happening over the next few hours. So there is a special weather statement, as I mentioned earlier in the show, because of the strong winds. And some of those gusts were almost to 80 kilometers an hour. And we're still talking about some gusts over 50, and that risk that through the evening hours, those trick-or-treat hours, that they'll be strong. And in fact, they're going to be quite strong overnight and into early tomorrow morning before they really start to back off. So they will, but they're changing direction too. And so that's why we're going to be finding the mild conditions leaving us. So at least it is mild for our trick-or-treaters. But besides the winds, if you're taking an umbrella, hold on to that tightly. We do have some spotty showers. And it's not everywhere. I mean, this is what we say when we say scattered. You can see it's not just a widespread rain that's moving through. So they're light in nature, but from time to time you may find the costume getting a little bit soggy. So be aware of that. We'll get that kind of moving through, and then we'll be drying out in the overnight hours. But you know what we're not likely losing until at least tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon, are the clouds. So we'll have a pretty thick cloud deck as we roll through Friday, and then into, say, that 3 o'clock hour or so, we'll start to get things breaking up before sunset, and so we get some clearing, and that is your hint for the weather on Saturday, where we will have the sunshine back shining brightly, and that will be nice. Overnight tonight, got to get used to this cooling down, so down to 8 degrees. I think we could be lucky to get to that 12 tomorrow. Still breezy in the afternoon, but stronger winds in the morning. Like I said, they're still going to be kind of with us, just perhaps not up to close to 80 like we've been experiencing. Saturday, still on the cooler side. Sunday as well. And by the way, of course, putting those clocks back on Saturday night when you go to bed. And then I do want to point out that we do have a warm-up coming for a few days anyway. It'll be short-lived, but at the beginning of next week, Chris.
Not bad. Short-lived like my costume. It fell apart, but thank you very much, Colette. Yeah, no, I know. It fell off. It is over, and so is the show. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you need more news, go to the website, cbc.ca/Windsor.